We don't have it.
There's no. There's sign language. All right. Call this meeting to order. Can we please stand for pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mr. Miller,
Present.
Mrs. Ling, Mr. Chazar,
Here.
Mr. Olszewski,
Here.
Mr. Lemak,
Here.
Mr. Corns,
Here.
Mr. McKenna,
Here.
Mayor Dice.
All right. Thank you very much. Announcement, any other unlisted amendments? All right. That moves us on to consent calendar items. Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All right. Thank you, Michael. Matt, all in favor? Aye. All right. That passes the consent calendar items. Comments by the mayor. Can we put anything up here or no? We don't have to.
I probably cannot hear us.
That's fine. It doesn't matter.
Oh, there you go.
Yep, there it is.
Might have.
So the mayor's not with us today, so I'll do those. The Westmoreland County Sheriff's Office Firearms Division will hold a satellite license to carry permit event at the municipal building here at 4100 Sardis Road, Murraysville, Thursday, July 9th from 12 to 7. The application process, applicants must provide a completed application both for new and renewals, updated PA driver's license, photo identification card with address, and $20 cash or check made out to Sheriff Albert. Concealed permits will not be printed at the satellite location. You'll receive your carry permit in the mail in 5 to 10 business days once it's approved. Secondly, just an announcement that the municipal offices will be closed this Friday, July 3rd, in observance of Independence Day. That's it. Moves us to comments by Chief Administrator Mike.
Not much for this evening. The Public Works Department did finish the line painting at Chambers Park tennis courts. Probably not much else to report. We have a pretty full agenda, so throw out a few other updates as we go throughout the meeting.
All right, that moves us on to community input. I'm gonna guess we don't have any. For the good of the order, does anyone want to speak? That's right. That moves us to liaison comments and committee reports. We'll start down here with Bill.
I haven't attended the library meeting yet, but the next one is July 16th. And I'll
The EAC meeting was canceled for June due to mildew. I missed the June TMSA meeting due to business conflict, but I will be at the one on July 16th.
Yeah, Franklin Regional School Board voted unanimously in its June meeting to approve the $73.54 million budget after revenues fell short by nearly $798,000. School board raised property taxes by 3.45% or 4 mills. Each mill expected to generate about $362,000 for the 2027 budget. The board will not meet in July. Next meeting will be in August. Murraysville Parks and Rec recently had a discussion on newly opened golf course, disc golf course, the early sponsors and updated ideas on signage. Looking to solidify a date for a soft opening in July in coordination with local media. Next meeting will be July 13th at 8:45.
All right, thank you, Darren. Michael?
Thank you. There was no pension board meeting this month. We did get a report from Better Schultz that there was a net increase in the value of pension by $32,000 in June. bringing the total value of the pension to 36.45 million. Despite a month where the S&P 500 went down by about 1%, so the diversification of our financial position enabled us to withhold that profit. Medic One had their meeting on Thursday, June 18th. The subscription drive is continuing. We have right now in Murrayville 22% returns. Last year we hit a max of 24%, so we're likely only getting a couple more percent out of that. They did have a positive financial month in May after having a down month in April, which was essentially driven by an increase in delinquent collection efforts, as well as getting a reimbursement for services provided during the NFL draft. The Medic One director has expressed interest in coming and presenting a report to council as a whole. I suggested that August, maybe you, Derek, Michael can arrange that for one of the August meetings. That way they're getting it near their budget season. If there are potential adjustments that we can get that and the one that the other time. Thank you.
All right. And the Parks and Recreation is coming up on the 7th. Or I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. The 14th of July. So nothing there. Just obviously with the heat right now, just please anyone in the parks and trails and stay hydrated. Keep an eye on your neighbors and watch for pets. It's been extremely hot this week, so it's not a dangerous time. So, all right, that moves us on to workshop items. Under administration, 9A. That's a discussion and update regarding sanitation requests for proposals RFP. Mike?
Yes. So we did authorize an RFP at the early June meeting for sanitation services, recycling services in the municipality for residential properties. We held a pre-proposal meeting mid-June, and at that meeting, there were 4 or 5 haulers that attended. There were some questions that were asked. We had to gather some information to help provide responses to those prospective proposers. And so we put together an addendum to the RFP. The addendum provided responses to some of the questions that were presented at the proposal meeting, the pre-proposal meeting. It clarified several aspects of the contract provisions. It updated some of the bid forms or the proposal forms, and ultimately provided a little bit more collection data. We had to gather some of that from the current hauler. Nonetheless, that prompted us to extend the deadline for the proposals. The deadline will now be Friday, July 31st. We wanted to make sure that we were able to give them adequate time to receive the answers, ask any additional questions, which I believe that deadline was today. I didn't get any other questions thus far. I think that was the deadline in the addendum. And so now the proposal will be able to put together a package and submit before that Friday, July 31st deadline. As it stands, the subsequent council meeting would be August 5th, the Wednesday. So if everything comes in by July 31st, I'll be able to put all of that together for council in a briefing that will prepare us for that August 5th meeting to have discussion or potentially consider voting on a contractor. Again, we will see what happens with the submission coming in on July 31st. So at this time, I just wanted to make council aware of that. If there are any questions, I'm certainly happy to answer. But right now, we're just kind of in the middle of the proposal process. And like I said, we had to issue an addendum just to clarify a few things and make sure everything stays on track from the municipality standpoint.
The current contract expires.
It expires at the end of September, so that's September 30th, 26th of this year. So that's essentially 3 months from now. We did talk with the current hauler in case there might be any disruption or extension of that, but as it stands, we anticipate that everything should fall in line and be in order for the new contract to take effect when the current one.
All right. Any other questions from council for that?
Sorry.
I was just asking any questions from council on this. All right. That moves us down to action items. Mike, before the action items, just a question. I saw the guys having the bike on the back. What's happening with the bike patrol on the trail? I had a few people asking. Like they've already started those patrols and everything.
For the police department?
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
yes. They have started patrols there. It is not a regular patrol, but they are deploying there when manpower allows. They have been trying to get down there more often, based on obviously the circumstances from a month or two ago, but then also just because of the volume of trail users and the feedback we've gotten from the community as far as the appreciation for seeing police and a police presence on the trail. So they are getting down there. I know that we have, I believe, over 10 officers that all participate in the bike patrol program, which is quite a lot. 21 officers that are on patrol. So that's a pretty good amount. And those guys and ladies seem to express interest in trying to do bike patrols. They want to be a part of that if they can. So as long as manpower allows, the chief is scheduling them to be down on the trail. And again, I may have mentioned this at the last meeting, but they've also done some additional improvements down there as far as reporting. They've talked to some of the local businesses down there, gathered some information about their security systems and cameras that might be near the trail, and also have done some geolocating of trail markers so that calls to 911 can kind of reveal directly where an incident a caller may be calling from. There is an incident. So they have been a little bit proactive in that regard as well. So
That's great. It was a very quick response for that. That's great.
Michael, did they get their uniforms? I don't know.
that's the big topic. So I think that they are still, the uniforms are not finalized yet. They have uniforms, but the printing as far as the police logos and decals and things like that are not all finalized. Of course, the bikes are in and they are using them. And they do have bike uniforms. They just don't have all the decals printed. So I think that's the final part that we're waiting on. Yeah, that's the last part that we're waiting on. But otherwise, they can still patrol. It's just some printing issues we're waiting on.
Not great. All right. Well, we got a pretty packed action item list, so we'll get started there. That moves us to 13A. Can I get a motion?
Motion to adopt resolution number 815-26, approving the transfer and acceptance of restaurant liquor license number R-16586 into the municipality of Murrysville.
All right. We got Darren and Bill. Thank you.
Excited for this one.
Yeah. Can't wait for this liquor license.
The restaurant.
Mike.
Yes, pretty straightforward. We did have a public hearing on this matter back in June, I believe. And this is for the transfer to the property located at 4425 William Penn Highway for the Coast and Main restaurant that is potentially relocating from the Monroeville Mall area. So this is the formal step that must be obtained from the applicant by the municipality as they submit for the transfer to the Liquor Control Board. So this resolution would authorize the relocation of this liquor license from Greensburg to Murrysville.
All right. Any questions from council? I know we kind of already discussed this at the public hearing. But no questions? All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right. That motion passes. That moves us to 13B. Can I get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to renew fiduciary liability insurance coverage with Chubb for the period of September 1st, 2026 to August 31st, 2027.
Second.
Thank you, Jason. Darren? Mike?
Yeah, this one's pretty straightforward. This is just the renewal. The premium is $6,163. That is the same as the current premium, and it is funded from the pension asset.
Pretty straightforward. Any questions from council? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. That moves us to 13C.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt policy number 54-26, Act 22, audio and video recording request policy.
Second.
All right, thank you, Bill and Michael.
Yeah. So this one is to adopt a formal written policy regarding the request for law enforcement audio and video recordings, which fall under Act 22 of 2017, in the state of Pennsylvania. A lot of times, more recently, we've been getting these requests through Right to Know, which this is not an item that should be handled under Right to Know. It should be handled under Act 22. And because body-worn cameras, dash cams, and those type of law enforcement recordings, even cell phone footage, if that is something that an officer conducts, those are all somewhat newer things that have taken place over the last number of years that we don't have a policy for. So this policy creates the formality as to how folks can go about requesting audio or video from the police department. We also do have a memorandum of understanding with the Westmoreland County DA's office regarding certain types of law enforcement recordings. And so this policy incorporates that MOU and kind of blends everything together so that for each type of a request, it will go through a review process, may ultimately go over to the DA's office for review, or it may stay internal. But it allows us to establish that formal review process when someone were to request audio or video of anything that we have in the police department. Of course, there are also exceptions as to what is permitted and not permitted, or maybe some form of redaction. Because redaction of video or audio is sometimes much more complicated than paper, there's software necessary to do that. So as such, we wanted to adopt a formal policy that has a uniform set of procedures as to how these requests are submitted and received by the municipality, how we process them, how they are reviewed, whether the solicitor needs to be involved. And again, there's language in there for when it would go to the solicitor for review, redaction of information, all of the above, and then also even record retention requirements. So we utilized several other policies from other municipalities and also the state police in putting this together. We did create a form, a request form as well. You'll see later on the agenda asking council to consider amending the fee for video requests. The reason being is that we have a very low fee, $100, to request audio or video footage, and the amount of time that it takes to process the request, potentially redact it, review it, and all the work that goes into it kind of prompted us to suggest asking council for a higher fee. We used the same fee as requested by the state police for this same process, which is $500. That is a separate matter that's built into the fee ordinance that is later on the agenda, but this is the policy itself. And so staff is asking council to consider adopting this policy so that we have a review process for these type of requests when they come in.
All right, great. No, questions from council? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes. 13D, can I get a motion?
Make a motion to adopt resolution number 819-26, adopting rules procedure for the Murrayville Code of Appeals.
Second. Thank you, Matt and Jason.
Yes, and just similar to the last item, this is kind of setting forth a set of rules, procedures for the Code Appeals Board. As council is aware, that board was recently created, and then members were appointed to that board. While we haven't had any appeals yet, we did want to create a framework for how that board would operate. This framework would allow for a set of rules or procedures so that if a code appeal comes in, depending on whether it's a building code appeal or a property maintenance appeal, there would be a process that would allow the board members to follow kind of a set of guidelines as to not only how to process the appeal from a procedural standpoint, but then also even addressing membership and organization of that board, and a lot of the clarifying deadlines, hearing schedules, things like that. So this is a policy that I can pull up now. It's a several-page policy that we put together essentially to give a framework for the Code Appeals Board, and it also creates an appeal form as well. So that is all listed in the Dropbox. It's roughly a 5-page document that kind of lays things out for the folks that are appointed to that board if an appeal were to come in.
Michael, where in the Dropbox is that?
So it'll be under the support documents.
7-1 meeting?
Yeah, for the 7-1 meeting. And if you are not seeing it, there may be an issue with your Dropbox updating. I can ask Mike to come in, but I can pull it up here on the screen. My Dropbox was not loading as well, but I'm able to tie into the server, and I don't believe that you guys can. So let me pull up the document here so that you guys can see it. Okay, that's the application. So it comes in the form of, I apologize, it comes in the form of a resolution, but the rules of procedure are attached to that. And if we could pull that up on the screen, Mike may not be able to hear me. I can scroll through this if you would like. I apologize. He is going to refresh the server, which is why your
Dropbox.
which is why your Dropbox is not updated as it should be. But this is the document here. I can slowly go through it if it holds on the screen, and then if there are any questions, but you'll see it sets out the purpose and authority of the board for both UCC and property maintenance appeals. Membership of the board. What we did is, as you know, we created the board with staggered terms, 5 members, and it points to the ordinance that establishes that board itself.
And with that board, we have 3 members now, right? And
We have 3
2
appointed,
openings.
but the board
Right.
does consist of
Of
5.
five.
So
We have
we can certainly fill 2 more seats, and then also, again, in that ordinance, you can have alternates.
Right.
So again, provided we were able to get up to that number, you could have ultimately 7 folks there appointed to that board. And I apologize, every time I move my mouse, it's blinking, so I'm going to try to go through this a little bit choppy. The officers, again, the board would then elect the chairperson, vice chair, and this kind of lays out their duties. The secretary would be either the chief administrator or designee, that would be the secretary to the board. That person would receive the appeal applications, maintain records, schedule hearings, provide notices, all of the above that you see there. For the appeal applications, they would be filed with the chief administrator. It indicates how that appeal process works, submitted in writing on the forms that are provided by the municipality. We did create that form. It has all the information that you see there below, including the supporting documents and the grounds for the appeal, and then any filing fee that will be established by a resolution or ordinance of council. There are appeal deadlines. There are different deadlines for each under the property maintenance code, although it appears in this case they're both within 20 days, although sometimes there are differences between those two different, ordinances or 2 different sets of regulation. Then hearings will be scheduled within 20 days. Chairperson can reschedule hearings if need be. Notice will be provided to all of the affected parties. Meetings are open, comply with the Sunshine Act, open to the public. And then it has a conflict of interest provision. Solicitor can attend hearings whenever an appeal is scheduled and shall advise the board regarding legal or procedural matters. Of course, oaths of office for those. And then it has a hearing procedure that kind of gives that board kind of a guideline as to how to approach the any code appeal hearing. That way that they can build a record out appropriately. Formal rules of evidence do not apply, but the board may receive evidence that's relevant or reasonably reliable, and cumulative evidence or that it's repetitive may be excluded. And then it has quorum and voting requirements based on the type of appeal. Again, that's built into the code section. And then a written decision must be issued within 30 days following the conclusion of the hearing, and findings of fact, copies provided to the various folks involved. Records will be maintained similar to any other type of hearing, and then it gives a process for a procedure for the recording of hearings and how that's conducted. And the remaining portions of this stay of enforcement, an organizational meeting, that's just for the formality of the board. Training, each board member shall receive copies of the various documents that the municipality has relative to the board. And again, this document will become effective upon adoption of this resolution. So I think that's probably, that's about it. So I apologize for going through it all piece by piece, but without having it in your Dropbox in front of you.
Open your Dropbox, please.
It's all done.
Yes, but yeah, the code, the Dropbox is up there. Thank you.
Perfect. I'm gonna
Thanks,
get
Mike.
that flash off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To your question, Wes, about the appointment, who serves which term, that is decided by council at the time of appointment to the board. So the board itself doesn't.
So we staggered those so
Yeah.
that they're not all at the
So
same time.
the terms are decided by council.
So I mean, look, I just got to look through this now. Sure. But I mean, looking through it, it looks like everything here is compliant with that. And the basic procedure is public hearings, very similar. So, I'm comfortable with this at this point, especially since it is a rules document.
That's right. If anything in this document were needed to be amended or modified in any way, certainly come back, adopt a new resolution and modify that. The goal was simply to get something in place in the event there is an appeal, kind of wanted to have some structure for them to operate by. And then just
It's just great to have this now. We didn't have anything.
and the application form, again, less relevant, I guess not shown on your screen, but it's also in that file folder, and it's a small document that gives a little bit of information to the applicant, provides some details about the deadlines and the hearing process, and then ultimately requests information from them on the type of appeal, indicating the property that's under appeal and providing information regarding that property, having a statement of appeal or variance request, etc. So, and then a certification at the end. So a pretty standard form as well to the company.
Mike, I assume time frame wise, it's probably similar to the zoning hearing board, right? Like what's just a rough time frame if somebody appeals like till their hearing? Is it a month, 2 months? 6
Yeah, it would
months?
probably be less than a month. Again, I could go back to the timelines there, but I think it's within 30 days is what within even 20 days from the time that the appeal is accepted here. So appeal deadlines, property maintenance code, appeal should be filed in 20 days after service of the decision, notice of order. Same with the UCC. Now that's the deadline for them to appeal. And then the hearing is scheduled within 20 days of receipt of a complete application where practicable. And so what we would do is, again, we would try to schedule that. If there were any issue with that, getting folks in here, holidays or other things, then we would work around that. Again, it's similar with the zoning here where sometimes, unfortunately, you have to call a hearing and then and then continue it. But we try to not do that. We try to work with the applicants and make sure that it works for everybody. But we did want to keep a tighter timeline here because we wanted to make sure that matters are being addressed and resolved in the community in a timely fashion.
All right. Yeah, no, thank you for doing this. You guys put this together pretty quickly, and great to have a roadmap for this new work.
This greatly strengthens our ability to do code enforcement, building code enforcement. Thank you all.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. That motion passes. Moves us to 13E. Get a motion.
Motion to advertise ordinance number 1113-26, the fee ordinance.
Second.
Good, Darren and Bill.
This item, of course, the fee ordinance is adopted and readopted throughout the year, usually at the end of the year if we need to adjust any fees. In this case, the main reason why this item comes on the agenda is to increase the fees for police department video requests from $100 to $500 in line with the policy for the Act 22 request. In conjunction with that, there were two other items that we identified that are kind of been lingering that, again, it wasn't a priority to address, but since we are potentially advertising this ordinance, the one item is burning permit fees. Right now, a burning permit is $5 for a 5-year period, which is a rather low fee relative to the administration keeping logs of that. That's been a fee that's in place for a long time. If you see in the briefing document, and I just updated it today with a little bit more information, but for burning permits, it was suggested and recommended by staff to increase that to either $25 annually or $50 for a 5-year period, which is in line with other local municipalities. It's not really much greater or lower than other municipalities in the surrounding area that are similar to Murraysville. For non-residential burning permits, it would be $50 annually. Bonfires would be increased from $10 to $25 per event, and land operations burning from $100 to $200. Again, the only reason for the recommendation to increase those is simply because they are so much lower than any other surrounding municipality. There is some administrative work that goes into processing, reviewing them. The code official will go out and inspect the property or review where they're burning, things like that. We do get a lot of calls from the fire department about burning and whether it's illegal burning. We have to look back. So there is some administration as it relates to burning, and a $5 fee for a 5-year period is just so incredibly low that there's almost no reason not to get the permit, even if you may potentially burn in the off chance someday. And the problem is, if the fire department calls and asks whether someone has a permit, again, it takes time and resources to look into that, look back, see when they did obtain a permit, if it is a valid one or not. So that was just a small recommendation. It's not imperative, but it would make some sense. And then the only other item is a small revision under the building permit section, which I mentioned in your briefing. I would have more information today. And it's simply put, it's not an amendment to any of the fees that currently exist, but rather it is clarifying some of the fees that are not clearly labeled in this fee ordinance. They are fees that are in our permitting system. They are fees that are being paid by the public when they go in and apply for a permit, and the permit is processed and authorized through our computer system, but they just weren't being displayed in the actual fee ordinance. And so we wanted to make sure that that was clear. It was pointed out by our community development director when he went to look for some of the fees, that the only place he was finding them was in the software when people apply, and not actually labeled in here. So we wanted to get those items spelled out in the fee ordinance itself. I did update the document as of today, the Word document. So if you're on the Dropbox, those are the items in red. And again, it's not a change in any fee, but rather just an administrative to make sure those fees are displayed properly in this ordinance, which encompasses all of the municipal fees. Happy to answer any questions about any of those 3 items in here.
All right. Any questions from council? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes, moves us to 13F. Can I get a motion?
Motion to approve a settlement in principle for case number 1266, 2026, 3058 of 2020, both in the Court of Common Pleas of Westmoreland County. Settlement is subject to review and execution of a final settlement agreement and consent order by the solicitor.
Second.
All right, thank you, Michael and Jason. Mike?
Yes, this is an item that was discussed as a legal matter. I believe that we are close to a settlement in this matter. I think this solicitor could certainly speak to any additional details that may be necessary for the public, but we are looking forward to getting this item resolved. I know that the individual property owner, the surrounding property owners at this property and the municipality have been litigating this for quite some time, and so we're looking forward to a resolution here. And if the solicitor has anything else to add into this item, they can certainly do so.
No, as indicated by Mr. Nestico, this matter was discussed as a legal matter in executive session. It is my recommendation that we proceed with the potential settlement of the disputes involving the Westmoreland Sportsman's Club, surrounding property owners, the municipality of Murraysville, and the municipality of Murraysville Zoning Hearing Board. I'd be glad to answer any additional questions should anybody have some, but I think we pretty much covered this matter before.
And thank you for all your hard work in this matter. I know there's been a lot of time and energy put into it for many years.
Thank you, Mr. McKay.
Any questions from council in regards to it? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes. Motion for 13G.
Motion to approve the proposed joint petition and stipulation of settlement agreement and assessment appeal number 5475 of 2025, filed by Erie Indemnity Company and Erie Insurance Exchange involving property located at 1000 Norrie Ridge Lane, tax parcel number 49-03-00-0-25.
All right, we'll go Michael and Matt.
Yes, this was a property tax assessment appeal. The solicitor has been working on this matter. Again, this was an item that the solicitor could probably elaborate on a little bit further, but it does appear that a settlement has been reached involving the petitioner, the property owner, the school district, the municipality, and the county. So I'll turn it over to Wes to add any additional information if necessary.
Yes, again, this was, I think, discussed thoroughly in executive session as a legal matter. I think council is well aware of the facts and circumstances regarding this case. For the benefit of the public, this was a tax assessment appeal filed by Erie Indemnity Company and Erie Insurance Exchange, excuse me, for property located at 1000 Murray Ridge Lane. And there was a proceeding held in front of Judge Marsili, solicitor for the school district, myself, and the property owner appeared, as well as the county solicitor, and we ended up coming to a proposed resolution of the matters involved in the appeal. I recommend that we proceed with the entry into the joint petition and stipulation of settlement agreement, as was discussed in the executive session. I'd be glad to answer any additional questions.
Any questions from council about this?
No questions. I do just want to thank the solicitor for fighting to get as much revenue for the municipality as we can under the circumstances. And just to state my frustration with the fact that Westmoreland County is allowing this to continue. This is something that we're going to see again and again, as long as we have assessment that is dating to the early 1970s. We're going to have more of these coming in front of us, and I'm going to keep raising this issue because every municipality, every school district, county itself is going to be put in a situation where providing basic services is harder unless they do something that's it.
Any other questions for him? All right. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes. Okay, that moves us on. Nothing under community development. That moves us to engineering, 15A. Can I get a motion?
Make a motion to award contract at DPW-3 that road surface treatment project in amount not to exceed $200,000. Russell Standard.
Second.
All right, thank you, Matt and Darren.
Yes, bids were open last week. There were two bids. Russell Standard is the low bidder at $204,686.50. This item was included in the 2026 CIP with an approved budget amount of $250,000, so it was nice to come in under budget. And staff is recommending awarding the contract to Russell Standard in the amount not to exceed $250,000.
Any questions from council? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes. Moves us to 15B. Can I get a motion?
Motion to award the contract for DPW-6-26 Municipal Library Sidewalk Reconstruction Project in the amount of $167,049.20 to N&N Landscaping LLC.
Thank you, Darren and Bill. Mike?
Yes, again, the bids were open for this project last week. 3 bids were received, and then landscaping was the low bidder. This was included in the 2026 CIP with an approved budget of $198,000. And so again, it's nice to see that it comes in under our budgeted amount. This project is taking place kind of in conjunction with the additional library, the overall library project taking place. When they received a grant, we were hoping that the sidewalk improvements could be included as part of that grant. Ultimately, there were restrictions, and so the grant was utilized in different ways to improve the library overall. And so because of that, we did put this item in the CIP. There are some issues with the sidewalk up there. There is a tripping hazard that's kind of temporarily being patched over, but this will address some of the sidewalk issues and get it into compliance from an ADA standpoint as well.
All right. Any questions from council on this? All right, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All right, that motion passes. Moves us to 16, Public Works and Parks, 16A. Can I get a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve the contract with Ace Pro Pyro LLC to purchase and exhibit fireworks for the 2026 Marysville Concert Park event on August 8th, 2026.
All right, thank you, Jason and Bill. Mike?
Yes, this is the contract to purchase and exhibit fireworks. The 9th annual event will take place on August 8th. The event is hosted by the municipality and organized by the Rec and Public Works Department. As part of the event, a firework display is presented for the enjoyment of the residents and visitors. The proposal for the fireworks display includes all the products, display operators, transportation permits, etc., including site cleanup after the event. The total cost of the display is $13,000. Council approved the contract last year in the amount of $12,500 for the 2025 event. So this proposal represents an increase of $500, approximately 4%. And this item was budgeted in the Concert in the Park program and is offset through sponsorship, contributions, and also event funding. Staff is recommending approval of this item.
All right. Any questions from council on that? Be a great event again. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that motion passes. Any old business? Any new business? Executive session, and then we had one prior, aren't we? Is there we're gonna have another one with no action.
Yes, I would ask to have a brief executive session. We did have one prior for legal matters. We would also have an executive session after the fact for a legal matter. I believe would be two legal items.
And no action coming.
No action will come out.
All right, and I guess one more motion.
So, Darren?
Second.
All right, thank you, Matt and Darren. All in favor? Aye. All right. Thank you, guys.